Welcome, everybody, to yet another episode of Yolking Around, the podcast that brings you news, pop culture, and life reflection. My name is Derek Mayo, and my co-host, Diana Gutierrez.
I'm here. I'm still alive.
How are you, Diana?
I'm all right. It could be doing better, but we're here, you know?
Yeah. It's we're still alive.
Yes.
It's not World War III yet.
I know. We haven't gotten bombed yet, so
Um,
that's a win.
Yes, and I wish I was being sarcastic,
Yeah.
but that is very much something that we are dealing with nowadays.
It's just too much. All the saturation of things that are happening every day.
Yeah. But before we get too dark, and I feel like that tells you how much we actually care about what's happening outside of, you know.
We unfortunately don't have the privilege not to care, you know?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the things are affecting us very directly. And as you guys may know, well, we've been gone for a little bit. We finally were able to move to our new set.
Oh, yeah. This is our new set.
Yeah, this is our new
love
set.
it.
I hope you guys like it. We've been working really hard on it and making sure that whatever we were going to bring back aesthetically looked amazing, or at least a little more upgraded from the last version that we had.
Yeah, and I for sure think it's more comfortable, you know? Like,
Yeah. That's what I was trying to go for. Something a little more, I guess, that feels like you can shoot the shit rather
Yeah,
than feel like you're like actually sitting down for like an interview, or I don't know. It's just a different setting, I guess. The different vibe that we're trying to go here, that with the futon and just
Yeah.
having more of a relaxed
I agree.
approach,
Help
even in the
facilitate
lighting,
it.
right?
Yeah, I love the lighting. It's like the little purple hue. I'm not sure how much it reads off the video, but I love it.
Yeah, you'll see it. You can tell. You can
Yeah.
definitely tell that there's lighting elements. We're still kind of playing with it because lighting is one of those things that I learned over my hiatus, that it kind of gives the vibe of the show, right? So yeah, it can look a certain way physically, but the lighting in essence is what kind of invites the person to kind of stay or
That's true.
or yeah, linger, right? Because it gives you a vibe, it gives you a sentiment of some sort, right?
Yeah.
So I focused a lot on that. Hopefully it looks semi-decent. We're going to be working with different cameras as well. So very experimental, but obviously pre-planned. We've been planning all of this for a
Premeditated.
while. Premeditated, exactly. But, a lot of things can go wrong. Hopefully that's not the case today.
Yeah.
Since it's our first episode, just coming back from our break. I recently, to kind of start the podcast, I recently was driving to work, because I actually have to drive to work, as before
It's
it
a
was
different
more
route.
yeah, it's a different route. And before I was home office, right? I was
Working
doing
from
office,
home.
working from home. So last Tuesday I was driving to work in the morning, and I saw this guy, and he was in a Subaru crossover
Okay.
looking car, and he was passed out.
The driver was
the
passed
driver
out?
was passed out. It was just him.
Oh.
And it was early in the morning.
That's not good.
And he was dozed off, like straight up, head back, all the way.
So where were you physically in relation to him? Were you behind him, next to him?
Good point. He was actually on the passing lane.
Okay.
He was on the passing lane. It's a 2-lane system. I was on the other lane, and he was passing me, and this guy was passed out. So I had to honk my horn
to wake his ass
to
up.
wake his ass up, because he was literally like
Oh.
completely dosed off.
That's so dangerous.
Driving on 285.
They say that it's more dangerous than driving while under the influence of substances.
Yeah. No, and I believe it. I believe it, honestly. I believe that drowsiness or being tired can fucking be more of a threat and kill you.
What was this, like around 6:30
It was
the morning? Or?
Yeah, it must have been like maybe like 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
7-ish.
Yeah. No, 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yikes. And then he just woke up after that?
Yeah, I honked the horn and I looked back, and then he was like, he grabbed the wheel again, and it's just crazy how you could just pass out and I don't know, man.
You honestly, you might have saved his life and or other people's lives with that.
Yeah, and people might not believe me, but I swear to God, it was like he was passed out. He was like completely, his head was completely back, and I had to honk, and he woke up right away, like knowing that he had like dozed
Oh,
off
I
for a
fully
second.
believe that.
It was fucking crazy. I've never seen something like that. It has happened to me. You
Yeah.
know, you start pulling all the tricks. You know, the gum. You know, you start
Oh, right.
when you're doing a trip
They also say like nicotine as
or
well.
nicotine, right? Pull out the cigarette, if to kind of like wake you
Yeah.
up, or the vape. You know, if you like to do that, whenever you have to do either a
Vape
long
Nation.
trip, and then especially when you have to drive a long way, and it's at night.
Yeah.
That's when it's like one time I had to drive from Colorado to Vegas to Nevada, and it was during the night because it's an 11-hour drive or so, at least from where we were going, and you have to prepare yourself through the night because if you don't have a buddy
I
that's
was
with
gonna
you,
say.
or if you're just doing it by yourself, it's very dangerous.
Oh yeah.
You can fucking pass out
At
and
that point, just might as well
go to
pull over,
sleep.
take a little, take a little
Yeah,
nap.
that's what I would
Honestly,
recommend.
yeah, because that's the best way to just recharge your energy. Like Red Bulls, I mean, are good and power or energy drinks or whatever, but there's nothing like just taking a 30-minute nap. You know?
But yeah, you're right. And there's been cases where I've been in that situation and pulling to the side of the road and just sleeping for like a couple minutes, if you can, obviously.
Yeah.
If you can. But doing that on a long trip is a lot better because there's been points where I've been drinking Red Bulls and they just don't do this.
They
They
don't
just
hit the
don't hit the
same
same.
no more.
You're so tired that you
Yeah, that's
just
true.
your eyes just want to like shut regardless of the caffeine that you're throwing into your goddamn body.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too. I think there's a lot of people that are dependent on caffeine in general. You know, coffee is
Oh,
such a
yeah,
big
it is.
industry. Obviously, it's very obvious why.
I mean, it's a capitalistic
Yeah,
industry, you
exactly.
know, and it's also very much uh, corporative element, right? It's the way to kind of fuel your employees in a
Right.
way.
Yeah, and that also kind of reminds me of like when you first mentioned that he was just passed the fuck out on his way to work, most likely.
Yeah.
Is that in Japanese culture, you see a lot of people sleeping like in the subways or in the trains, like on their way to work, just because they're so exhausted,
Yeah.
or on their way out of work.
And it's not seem, it has like a different connotation, if I'm not mistaken. I think it seems as like, oh, damn, they're working so hard that they're tired, so it's
Right.
it's not perceived as something negative per se.
Yeah,
But
even
that-
though they work themselves to death a lot of the time.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is something that you can definitely do. That and stress will fuck you up.
Oh yeah, 100%. But that's crazy that you saw that. I 100% believe it. I've seen some wild things in these streets over here.
Yeah, I've been in situations where I've about to pass out, and you do put yourself in danger, like
Oh, yeah.
straight up. You do.
You and others, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, that actually reminds me too of something kind of weird that I saw someone do. It wasn't here in Denver, but it was somewhere in Colorado, where I was little. I was like in elementary school at this point, but I remember very clearly like this man. Like I can still see him visually. Like
I can see his face.
yeah. Like my mom would take me to work, or not to work, to I wasn't at work as a fifth grader, but my mom would
I
drive.
hope not,
No,
at
no, no, no. I would drive. My mom would drive me to school, and on our way there, every day without fail, we would see this man driving and shaving his face.
Oh yeah, there's I've seen women do their makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Putting on eyeliner. I don't know how they trust
Eyeliner?
themselves. Eyeliner.
I can barely trust myself
Bro,
to put on
I've
lip
seen
gloss.
girls put eyeliner
What?
on. Yes, I'm like, you're gonna fucking destroy your eyeball. You're
That
gonna
is crazy.
fucking Final Destination that shit. You're gonna fucking kebab your eyeball. Like straight up, I've seen it.
Wow.
I've seen it. Yeah, or makeup. I have seen the typical like white guy like with a convertible in the morning going to work doing the tie.
Oh, yeah.
trying to do the tie. I've seen that. I've seen people cut their nails as well,
What?
which
That's
it's
a
fucking
weird one. You need
Yeah.
like 2 hands for that one.
Yeah. I think it was a passenger. I think it
Okay.
was a passenger. Yeah, it wasn't the person driving per se.
That is
but-
kind of an odd thing to do in the car, though.
Yeah, it is odd. Very, very odd. Just in general. I mean, moms. Well, moms have to probably go through every morning with their child and with their children, and having a routine to take them to school and all of that.
Gives me a headache just to think about it.
You have to have like so many. You have to keep so many things at hand and making sure that everybody has done what they're supposed to. No, yeah, it'd be insane. Props to moms.
Honestly, it's like so much responsibility. Y'all are doing great. Y'all are doing better than you think you are.
Yeah. It's Pride Month. Actually, the Pride Parade is going on right now in Denver.
Yeah, it
As we
went on.
speak.
It started yesterday, I think officially. It was gonna be like a 2-day thing.
Love
I
to
saw
all the
some
gays,
pictures. Yeah, honestly, love you guys.
to all the diversity that is out there, and it's very much being attacked. Just like a lot of other minorities that they deserve to, celebrate in these days that are kind of very dark, very war feeling.
Yeah, did you
Filled.
hear about the heterosexuality pride fest that Boise, Iowa tried to have?
The heterosexuality.
Or Idaho, sorry. Boise,
Idaho?
Idaho. Uh-huh.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Get-
What was that all
the
about?
name
How
is-
do you even have that? I think if you're heterosexual, then that's pretty much everyday life, no?
Exactly. People are so like it's ridiculous. It's like those type of people that want an award just for existing or just like participating in something.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Okay. Is those kids that grew up with the participation trophy, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to be part of it.
But yeah, that's a
Teeny,
good
but you suck. He's good. You suck.
man.
Let's teach our kids the right way, please.
Yeah,
Rub some dirt on it.
honestly. Yeah. Tough them up a little bit, but yeah, there was they called it Hetero Awesome Fest.
Hetero Awesome Fest.
Isn't
That's
that just like the cringiest name you've ever heard?
that spews out white men energy all over.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
it flopped. They're in debt. Like they're trying to pay back what they invested into the festival because it had such low attendance.
Well, yeah. What the fuck are you really celebrating, man? Just being straight. That's the grand majority, I would say, of people. No.
Yeah, pretty much. And there was only around 150 participants, and that's being gracious with the number.
150.
Yeah.
That is. Was it supposed to be like a big event?
Yeah,
Or how big
they
of an
invested
event was
money into it. It's in the same location where, weirdly enough, Pride Fest used to be hosted in Boise. But the funny part and like the amazing part is that that's not where it was this year because they outgrew it because of how big the event is.
What the fuck? Good job,
Yeah.
everybody.
I just
Go
think that's like-
celebrate, baby. Celebrate love.
Be who you are. Have you seen
Yeah.
that Vine?
We gotta celebrate our differences.
Yeah, but shout out to all the gays and days,
Yeah.
It's to be celebrated. Like you said, every other day is for straight people. Like, it's just the world that we live in, especially nowadays with all
Yeah.
the freaking executive orders going left and right. And the degradation and the lack of acknowledgement of these people that exist and have always existed.
Yeah, 100%. And they have great parties. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they just fucking do.
It's just what it is.
It's just a great party, great time to be with the community, and we're allies. Remember, we're allies.
Oh yeah. Oh, I should have worn mine.
Yeah, we
Don't
dang,
cancel
you're
me.
failing.
Oh, no, don't
Where's your
cancel
gay
me.
pride bracelet? Okay, you can't even really see it. I don't think on mine.
It's a nice bracelet, but yeah, I just thought it was funny that event flopped, and right now they're trying to raise money to pay back what they invested into it.
No shit, dude. It sucks when something like that happens, but I mean, if if you're not being smart about it, then what the hell do you expect? There's gonna be loss of income, obviously.
Honestly, yeah.
Like there's just no other way around it. You have to be very smart when you're gonna do things like festival, even from the logistics all the way to like what you're trying to express through the essence of the festival itself, right? So I don't know. Heterosexual festivals, I don't want to. I would rather go to the Pride.
Of course,
festival, honestly.
Yeah,
At
we
that
didn't get a
point.
chance to go this year, but hopefully
Next year, man. 2026. I want to create content where you could go and vlog and just express what's actually happening at these events and show people how fun and how good inclusivity is in cherishing the differences. Because it's just what makes the world go around.
Well,
man.
if we were all the same, what would be the point? Like, it'd be so boring.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
But yeah, 2026 I think should be a better year in general for a lot of things. I know you've been
hopefully
working.
not a worse year, but that could happen. I mean, it could get worse. Sadly.
We don't know. But trying to be hopeful, but it's very hard right now. But
yeah, there's a level of skepticism that derives from the situation that we are in the U.S. So
yeah, 100%. I would say like a
100%.
mix of skepticism and also realism, right? Because we're actually like anticipating how much worse it can get.
That is another thing. Yeah, it's very interesting because you could have a filter of positivity, but that is very much driven by your own biases. That could be driven by your biases, and obviously I want things to get better, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the material components in society or in life or in the world are there for it to get better.
Yeah, we don't have the conditions right now.
Exactly. So that's something that we need to work on. And yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. But I started DJing as well. This episode is more of a little bit of brush of what's been going on in our lives outside of this. Just and also up. Trying to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the news. Going forward, we'll have like more fun things integrated into the podcast in the sense that I want to add new components.
Oh yeah, we have some fun ideas.
Yeah, fun ideas for once the actual podcast episodes are going out. We have different things that I want to integrate into the podcast. You guys will have to see those. But yeah, I started DJing. My first gig, I did it for a friend of mine. It was for a birthday party. Never thought I would see myself, well, I guess I did, but didn't think I was going to be in that situation so soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is to imagine it and the other thing is to live it as well.
Which is so weird, man. I know a lot of people don't believe in like manifestation or but I'm a very big person, not necessarily on manifesting but on visualizing. Kind of visualizing where I see myself, like even with DJing, I visualize myself playing in front of people, even if I'm just like in front of a sink, right, just washing my hands, like those thoughts kind of interrupt me in a crazy way where I kind of envision myself, and that way when it does happen through work and all of that, then I won't feel like a stranger to it,
Oh, I see.
And in a lot of the ways it's also like kind of hacking my brain into doing what I really want to see myself doing. You know what I mean?
Almost like a form of conditioning in a way.
Yeah, like a form of conditioning. Yeah, like planting I don't know, like giving your dreams a way to be fed in the real world through your actions, by thinking about it and expressing it, because I feel like a lot of the times people dream of things but they are scared to express it, and rightly so, because a lot of people will put you down, right, or will say things that will hurt you, or will say you just don't got it, whatever it may be, right? Once you're vulnerable and if your dreams are big or at least harder to obtain, if you will, people will look at you in a way that it's it can be negative.
That's true.
Pessimistic.
Yeah, and it's important to surround yourself with people that are, and I like the word they use, like feed your dreams, because there's a lot of people that
I love math. Obviously that's not the case, right? But
oh hell no.
Stay away from those people.
Yeah, that's toxic. There's limits for sure.
Yeah.
But surrounding yourself around those type of people that are supportive are important, because the other type of people, they just want to put you down, and a lot of it honestly comes from their own self. What's the word? Their own maybe like inability to accomplish their own dreams. Like maybe they have dreams of themselves that they
Would like to accomplish
would
or
like to
attempt.
accomplish or maybe haven't expressed openly. So I think a lot of the hate comes from a place of self like deprecation almost in a way.
Yeah, yeah, or a lack of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
that prohibits the action in a way, to do something about it yourself. If you really, instead of being jealous or saying that something sucks, well, if you're that good, do it yourself,
Yourself, yeah, yeah.
and you do it, and you be good at it. And if at some point you become that good at it and you can be a sort of a recognized voice
Mm-hmm.
for the element, then you've accomplished it, I guess.
Exactly.
But that if that's not the case, then don't be a hater. Just you can. I understand people troll, trolling, but to hate is very different.
I agree.
Hating is just you're just even if the work is good, you're just regardless you're just gonna see something negative about it because you just don't like the person. You're
Yeah.
you're attacking the person. In
Yeah, and I
sense.
think that's something that just in general about people commenting negative things on other people's posts and stuff like that. I don't understand the intention, but or maybe I understand the intention, but I guess I don't understand like the desire to do that. Because for example, I see people, that are trying to make it in like whether it be like the music industry or be an artist or anything like in the creative field and just like shooting their shot basically. And I'm supportive of that. Maybe they don't make content that's for me specifically, and maybe I don't like some things that they make or produce, but I just keep scrolling. You know what I mean? Like, what's the purpose of saying like, "Oh, you suck"? Like, no, like
Wasting your
maybe you're,
energy,
yeah,
right?
exactly. It's wasting your energy, fucking with your karma points. Second of all, and there's just no point. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's not meant for you. You know?
Yeah, move on.
Yeah, move on with your life, with your goddamn life.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying out the DJing. Hopefully, things look up.
You've been putting in your hours.
Yeah, I've been practicing. It takes a lot of creativity. It takes a lot of hours spent in understanding the structure of music and the way that you're supposed to be working with it in order for it to seem seamless, right? Like an ongoing song or a very creative way to create sounds and express that in a party setting or whatever it may be, right?
Right.
Eventually, I want to be able to do my own music, right? Do producing, but that's another story. I think first I need to learn DJing, or at least for me, I want to learn DJing because I've always wanted to be very proficient at it. And 2025, I think it's just gonna be a grind year for me specifically. I think I'm gonna try to do content and focus on my other elements, because when it comes to traveling, I'm not gonna fuck with that anymore. As at this point, I don't even feel safe going within the states.
That's sad.
And like I said, it's just gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna have to wait and see what 2026 sort of brings for us in order for us to even get out of, well, for me, not us, but for me to get out of the house.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's getting to that point where maybe even people with certain privileges are starting to get a little bit more freaked out about
Yeah.
traveling. And I actually, we've been kind of talking about it, but like the World Cup is coming up, right?
2026, yeah.
And I really don't know if we deserve as a country to host at this point.
Yeah.
Like with all the xenophobic rhetoric that is going on, like
It's very counter the World Cup. I mean, it's supposed to be the unity of countries and culture and
yeah,
ethnicities,
and
and
it's beautiful. It's supposed to be beautiful.
yeah, there's although it is commercial, whatever,
that's true, true,
you know what sports are, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't connect through it, right?
Right.
And those connections do have value to them because they're very emotional. They're very communal. They're very integrative in a lot of ways, and with the situation that we're having right now with this xenophobia and the racist rhetoric that's being spewed left and right, is just very much against the values of or quote unquote values of the World Cup. And if it goes against it, then that's then maybe we can discuss what the president of FIFA is doing, all these bigger entities that are in charge of choosing these places to hold a World Cup. I mean, we saw it with the last World Cup. There was a lot of commentary about it,
Right.
just because of the way that they rule their country and the way they are able to express themselves towards the outside world, right, or the rest of the world, and trying to do a little bit of sports washing into their own image. And I think right now the U.S. I concur with you. I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready for it. There's another tournament going on right now, and there's already commentary going on around about the pitches, the fields not being up to par, and there's just no.
And where's that one going on?
That's all over the U.S. right now.
Okay, it's still here.
Yeah, the club World Cup. Instead of being countries, it's club teams playing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay. Within the country.
Within the country from different countries, right? The best, quote unquote, best.
Oh, so it's not just American teams?
No, it's not just American teams. It's teams from Mexico, teams from Argentina. What I was telling you earlier.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a club World Cup.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So there's teams from Asia, all over the world.
Yeah.
France, etc.
Yeah, I mean, traveling in general I'm worried just like for the players themselves. Like, are they going to be able to come? Because at least I've known of Mexican artists that try to have tours here in the United States and their visas are getting denied.
Yeah, that's another thing, right?
I'm not sure how it works for in the soccer world, but
I mean, it should be. I mean, there could be caveats that could pop up out of all the things that this administration has been doing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I don't see myself. I have a bad feeling about the World Cup recently. Just and I don't want to be negative, but I feel like it could be either unifying and blow it out of the stage, and shut our mouths, or it could be really bad and something bad could happen at the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's just a weird feeling, especially with as we're getting closer, and the way the situation in the country is developing into this dictatorship, essentially, authoritarian government or regime.
yeah, especially with the Supreme Court decision yesterday.
Exactly, right. Where you're giving the executive power more motion to try to try to pass any sort of legislation que se les hinche de los huevos, that comes out of their fucking ball sack. It's very bad. It's very bad.
We've lost the plot. The U.S. has lost the plot.
Very much so. And a lot of people don't even realize how lost they are because of the same propaganda-fed ideologies that they have.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to question the right people or the right situations, and now it seems like we're all getting consumed by it, right? We're getting consumed by the snake eating itself, right? That's what I think of when I think of the U.S. That's what it comes to my head. It's just always this snake eating itself, like doing things to hurt the people within them that eventually will hurt the country itself and fragment it, balkanize it. Who knows? A lot of things can happen and be dystopian at this point.
Yeah, we're not
Some fucked up shit,
living
man.
the fictional Hunger Games or Handmaid's Tale.
Bruh,
Maybe not.
We just finished the Handmaid's
Yeah,
Tale,
we
actually.
did. That was a good series.
That was good.
I was talking to a friend about it yesterday, actually.
Oh, cool.
And because she's read the book, and I
shit.
never knew that the book was the book ends where season 1 ends. Weirdly enough. So and then there's like a jump cut like a few years later, and it kind of tells some details of like how things went down, but apparently
What the fuck?
yeah, I guess
Really?
and I guess the series goes. They had to like write a lot of things for the series.
Oh,
which
shit.
I'm honestly very impressed about because I think it was a really well written show. Honestly.
Yeah, it was. Very interesting character builds that they did, especially with the notion of like the Christian elements or the Anglican elements into the whole thing. What the church is or isn't allowed to do, and then the way they have restructured it to kind of fit this dystopian, corrupted male-driven country, because it's a
Yeah.
whole country, right? Gilead is a whole country.
Yeah,
the
it's like a
US.
country under the facade of Christianity, but under the male gaze, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Without gays, you know.
Yeah, without gays.
Without gays, actually.
Fuck.
And it's Christian nationalism. Like
Right.
that's what it brings to my head, you know. These proudly driven people that are all proudly Christian, quote unquote Christian, but in reality they use Christianity as
As a
as
weapon.
means to power and a weapon. Of course, they weaponize it against women. They weaponize it against other people that aren't necessarily like on the higher end or the elite
The
side.
white straight males.
Exactly. Yeah, we finished it. Great acting as well from Moss, which is always weird with that character. With that,
I agree.
because I haven't. I believe she's a Scientologist, right?
Right.
So
It just feels off. Like
Yeah, it just feels
what's
a
going
little
on?
weird.
What's going on there, Offred?
it's like, yeah, come on, right? But I think I think it ended well.
Yeah, I agree.
think they killed the people that should have been killed.
I would argue that they didn't tie up all the loose ends, but I think that was very intentional because it just shows how
Yeah, you're right,
how
yeah.
hard it is to dismantle a dictatorship, essentially.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And thank you for correcting me because, the show essentially ends in one section of the U.S. being won back, basically, but still having this whole U.S., this Gilead, still power in different areas, right? And any sort of spoiler alert, it sort of has or ends with the notion that these guerrillas are going to be trying to take back the different nations once again, right?
Right.
That's sort of like the feeling that, but it's not over, right? It's not like a happy ending, which
Yeah,
we
and-
didn't expect, and I love that they didn't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
it just gives
more
it
realistic.
Yeah, I was gonna say a sense of realism, and I think the biggest loose end for me personally was that they never figured out what happened to their daughter, like where she was at. Well, they knew that she was in Colorado, weirdly enough, like somewhere
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Colorado,
yeah,
but they never like got her back, or they never knew if like she was alive still. Like it was kind of left open, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just ends with her like narrating whatever book she's gonna write. But yeah, I think the series did what it needed to do, and it was pretty. I thought it was good. At some point, and especially like in the earlier seasons, I kind of had to take a break here and there. You know, as a woman, that wasn't a show that I could binge watch because it's pretty scary. And something else that was interesting that my friend was telling me yesterday is that so there's like the original book, and then I guess she wrote another book. It was under the POV of Aunt Lydia, and low-key I want to read that book.
I hate.
I know, that's what I was telling my friend that I was like, I hate her, and then she's like, I think she's just very misunderstood. I'm like, interesting.
I think earlier in the show they try to show that she was kind of like a very cool woman in like her past life.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was actually like completely different, and I think that's kind of like what they mean, that the character
Like the
itself.
contrast.
Yeah, there was a contrast, but the bitch ended up doing what she was doing, and you know, fuck her for that, you know, regardless.
Yeah, I'm not
It's
gonna lie.
about-
I kind of wanted her to like.
Yeah, I don't think it's about what you're doing, what you did in your past. It's about what you're doing in the present.
I
And if
agree. Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of things that happened to that character that should have helped her turn the fuck around, and she didn't. So fuck you, Aunt Lydia. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got
we
beef.
hate you. We got beef with you.
It's like, wait, guys, this is actually bad what we're doing. Like in the last few episodes.
Wait, what are we doing?
Wait, this is bad.
I thought this was biblical. What the hell?
I thought we were praising the Lord here.
Yeah, doing
not
the
oppressing
Lord's
women.
way. God, fuck.
I know there was a few characters in there that we could not stand.
Yeah,
But
Serena is another one.
Yeah.
Serena is one of them.
But I kind of like when in a show I have someone that I'm like, oh, I hate you, because that really just shows how the actor can bring a character to life.
Yeah. It's it's they're making you hate somebody that it's fictional.
Yeah, they're having you have a physical and mental reaction to like seeing them.
Very
on screen.
real reaction
Yeah,
to
exactly.
it, but it's theater. So it's very interesting how powerful things can be, right?
Yeah.
How moving things can be.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing that I was talking a little bit about with my friend yesterday was like, and I was talking to you about it a little bit too, but with she's changing her last name right now.
Yeah, since we're on the topic.
Yeah, and so
She recently got married,
yeah, she recently
Shout out to them.
got married, and I would say specifically to like a person of color, because I think that's important in the context of today.
Hispanic.
Yeah, Hispanic. But like I just got to thinking with like the Supreme Court decision yesterday to create more of a pathway to prohibit or more like retract birthright citizenship, right?
Yeah.
And it got me thinking about voters' rights at the same time, because that's also something that they have been kind of hinting at. I know there's been not been much like movement with that, but they've been kind of speculating that they kind of want to restrict voting rights for people whose last name doesn't match their birth certificate,
right?
And like they have to bring their birth certificate. Obviously, it's not something that's been implemented, but there's
right. No, but it could definitely be
right. I think it's plausible, and that's just something that is heavily targeting women, right? I think it's more popular. It's becoming more popular for men to also change their last names or like hyphenate their last names. But let's be real. Like this is something that's very much targeting women's right. Like it's voter suppression. It would be at that point.
For being the traditional party, they're not very traditional.
Yeah, honestly.
They almost go against its own ideology in that sense. But so that's these people. They're fucking crazy.
Yeah, full of hypocrites, honestly. On either side, I would argue.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, just the whole idea of them trying to get rid of the birthright citizenship, it's fucking ridiculous. And now it seems like they have more, like we were saying, the executive power, which is represented by the president. It has more of an access to this ruling, right? This executive order that he wants to pass, because now smaller courts are not able to do injunctions into the laws that are being passed. So a lot of the times these smaller courts are able to have judges scrutinize the legislation and put a hold on it, or say, hey, this does not qualify, or completely dismantle it, right, depending on what the situation is. And Trump was complaining about how the Democrats use this all the time as a weapon to kind of stop the process of certain legislation. But the same thing happens when a Democratic president is in office. The Republican side does the same thing. So it's a two-way street, but in reality it's nothing but an excuse to weaken the judicial part of our branch. As you guys may know, we have executive, judicial, and legislative. So they're trying to weaken that side, because the judicial side has a way to counterbalance the power of the executive, and kind of works in conjunction with the legislative.
Yeah, right, there's supposed to be a balance, more of a balance.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. But with what they agreed with what passed Congress yesterday or a few days ago, I think that we're just paving the way to have, a dictator.
A
dictator, and it's just very blatantly obvious at this point. I think that if you're living under a rock, or have no true understanding of what's really happening in a geopolitical scale, you haven't even been involved in the plot, and there's a lot of people that are like that are thinking that nothing bad is happening, that is going great for a lot of people think it's going great. But I also think that there's a lot of people in different parties or oppositions, whatever it may be, that are kind of like realizing that whoever they have appointed to govern and his staff, they don't have the best interest of the public. And they keep saying, like, they want to raise your taxes, but these are people that are protecting the billionaire class.
Their pockets.
They use this rhetoric of not raising taxes to kind of like scare the common folk, but they don't want to raise taxes on billionaires or rich people. But they'll raise taxes on the common. But that's what they use the whole. They flip it, right? And it's something that we've been seeing. We also have a war that we recently kind of like flirt with, and with Iran and Israel, and we stand with with those that are willing to stand out to bullies, you know, and Israel is a bully.
Yeah,
And
it is.
that's we're glad that somebody finally like said fuck you, you know, and punched them in the face in a way, you know, through their paper dome or whatever the fuck it was, you know. That's how I'm feeling about that shit. And we went on a big ass tangent about
Well,
last names, but yeah.
no, no,
Go
no.
ahead.
And I would argue it's not a tangent because I think that just shows how interconnected all of these things are, and like the things that these things that are passing, the influence that it's going to have, it's going to impact everything. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people also are under the impression that if it's not affecting them on a personal, individual level, that it's okay. Like it's going to be okay. But they're not, they're thinking very much in the present, but under a
Short term.
fallacy, because in the long term, that's gonna in some way, shape, or form impact you, whether it be economically, personally, like any way, shape, or form. It's gonna affect all of us, you know. Even though people still deny it, but honestly, there's also that side of people that finally are being like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have voted for this guy. Did you see that Candace
Maybe.
Owen doesn't like fuck with him anymore?
I hate
supposedly.
Candace Owen.
Supposedly,
I hate that
yeah,
bitch too.
Yeah, she's
She's a
horrible.
sellout.
Yeah,
she's
she
a
is.
sellout to me. She has
to her
betrayed
own people.
She has betrayed her own culture, just
Yeah.
like Snoop Dogg motherfucking did.
Oh,
you
that one
know.
hurt. I'm not gonna lie, that one did hurt.
There's been sellouts like that, and now they are backtracking and think because they see that what they're doing is disgusting, and there's no other word for it. That is disgusting what they're doing to people in this country and the way they are terrorizing other countries as well, putting blame and making them believe that that's the way that they are in fact the people terrorizing, but it's the other way around. I think we are the terrorizers, and by we I mean the US.
Tax.
So I don't know. I don't see any good coming out of this. I think that whatever we are doing and being puppeteered in a way by Israel, which interestingly enough, a lot of the MAGA supporters are kind of against going to war or helping out Israel, right? Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, a lot of
to see
people
within
specifically. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, the
but,
group. No, group.
a lot of people like specifically voted for Trump because he said no wars.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's start with
And now that's
Exactly,
they're like,
yeah.
oh, I thought he was gonna stop all the wars and not get into a war.
Yeah, let's start with that, huh? How about that? He said, Mr. Keep the Peace, and now he's even trying to go for this branding. This is how sick this man
Yeah,
is. He's
it is.
trying to brand the 13-day or 12-day war, and that he wants to get this Nobel Peace Prize for stopping Israel and Iran from blasting themselves off. But it's all theatrics. It comes down to theatrics, and there's a lot of moving pieces, and I'm not even able to understand the whole situation from different parties, whether it is Iran, Qatar, that ended up being sort of brought in, and then Russia, China, all these other big powerhouses that are still behind and sort of manipulating from afar the outcomes of what could be better for the world, essentially. Because what good would it be if we blast each other off and then we end humanity? I mean, it wouldn't lead to anything. Then even in their sick head, they're probably like, if we destroy everything, then there won't be anybody to rule over, right? To have power over. So
To sustain our pockets.
Exactly. So it doesn't even make sense in that
Through
way.
a capitalistic lens.
Yes, but it's not supposed to make sense. It's irradical. That's the whole. That's
Irrational.
the point. Irrational. Thank you. That's the point that we're trying to make here. That it ends up being that way. But I don't know. I don't see, if we continue with this track, I don't see us thriving as a nation. I don't see a leader in our nation. I see somebody that is digging us deeper into a hole that is going to take years to get out of, eons, because that's what a lot of people don't understand about when legislation passes. When it gets passed and it's actually making a difference in the physical world, there's a lot of things that can change, that are manipulated when it comes to changing legislation. I think that all of these executive orders has tampered our systems and our ways of processes. For example, if you pass a bill that's going to cut certain resources to a certain group of people, and that becomes legislation, then that comes down to the corporation or the agencies
Right.
that hold that are supposed to abide by the rulings that you're doing. So in order for us to change to that, or for them to change to that, it requires a lot of footwork, and that's what certain people don't understand, that just it's not just about writing them or and passing them. It's also about the physical effect that's going to have the implications and the physical effect and the new nuances that it's going to bring to the law. Yeah, that's.
You gotta slow down for the right, babe. You gotta slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
You're talking
Did I
too
just
fast.
go hard on it? Hard on the pen? Sorry.
Honestly, the left needs to hear that. On some, I feel like. As well.
I mean, the left in this country is what is it? The Democratic Party, people that are bought and paid by the same entities that these other Republicans are. So they're sold. I'm not sold with this Republican or Democratic Party. I think I want to see change in the material state of this country, not on the ideas. And I think that the only way you're going to obtain that is by action, right? And until the right people are harmed, and until those rights are taken away from those people that didn't think that they would be in that same situation, like the whole poem thing that we were saying. First they came for the communists, then they came for the socialists, until they came for you. That's kind of like the whole, that's why that poem is very meaningful, because we don't do action and we don't care about anything else. But once it's over our head and it's attacking us, then is when we're going to be realizing that we're being attacked, and it will be too late at that point to try to turn around.
It's like, damn, we actually have a problem.
Exactly. And that comes with the privilege, right? The privilege of looking a certain type, being part of the hegemony of this country, right? What this country offers. So
yeah, I mean, I don't really appreciate like the rhetoric of like, for example, like there's been a lot of deportations going on, and people were like, well, Obama deported people too. I'm like, yeah, and I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, don't get me wrong, but he actually allowed people to have due process. Like, he didn't just straight up kidnap people and be like, okay, you're out of here. It's very different.
The way they're doing things as well is very inhumane.
Straight up. Yeah, I was unfortunately, I have someone in my life that was detained, and so I had the absolute displeasure to be at an ICE facility this past 2 weeks, trying to make things happen. I've noticed a lot of things. First of all, they just are so grossly disorganized with everything. And it's very intentional, in my personal opinion, because they want to be depriving people of their rights, honestly.
Yeah.
I was trying to get a hold of this person's possessions, and it took me like an hour and a half to do it, and I had to keep insisting. And at some point, I'm like, okay, this is fucking ridiculous. And then the last time I had went up to remind them, they're like, oh, you're still here? I'm like, yes, bitch, I'm still here. And I've been here. But there's people that will leave because they just get so like annoyed of waiting and discouraged.
Yeah. It's like they probably tell them like, hey, if somebody asks, just fucking ignore them.
Yeah, pretty much. I honestly feel like, because literally the first time that I went, the guy was like, oh, I'm about to do it right now. I'm like, you just fucking lied right at my face.
Yeah. And that's what the people think, that like ICE agents think that they're doing something good for their country. My God, but they're being puppets. You're being puppets, and you're selling yourself. For
what? And that was something that was very disappointing to see as well, is that a lot of these people that work or at least in the facility that I went to, they were people of color.
Of course. It's our own raza putting people behind bars and going against the people. It's this whole thing, the bad hombres. I'm only gonna take out the bad hombres. Get into a point where it's about your skin color, the way you look, the way you speak, is your appearance that's getting reprimanded in a way. Well, you were saying, right, that a Native American woman was in the facility because she had a husband that had been detained, and he was himself a Native American. Yeah. So if
that doesn't tell you how fucked up this country is, I don't know what else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fucking crazy.
The real OGs.
Yeah, straight up.
Like, it's just the hypocrisy, the white hypocrisy is just, and not just white, like we were saying, it's also hypocrisy. It's also hypocrisy coming in from other cultures that want to seek the white tit, right? To be attached and latched onto, because that'll make them feel better about themselves.
Yeah, it was just such a horrible experience to be there. There was a lot of kids there that were visiting their parents. It was very
My
sad.
God, dude,
I heard
fuck.
little kids crying over wanting to be with their parents. I heard this other case too. I wasn't talking to this person because I'm like, I need to let them have their space, but it was happening very publicly, like what went down. So she was asking where her husband was,
Right.
and at first they didn't want to tell her. They're like, oh, I don't know, this and that. And then she stepped away, and the lady was like, okay, let me try to figure it out. And then she's like, okay. And then a few minutes later, the lady that was attending her was like, hey, he's getting deported to Cuba. And then
What the fuck?
yeah, and
For
then,
one time? Hopefully not one time.
I really don't know. And I felt bad. This lady,
Did she look Cuban? I'm sorry, but
I think I'm not completely sure because I heard her speaking Spanish to other people, but with like an accent. So I don't know if like she learned Spanish or, I really don't know.
okay.
But she had a daughter she looked like she was brown. So, maybe, I don't know.
Fuck, man.
And then so she went back, and then she was like, okay, but where is he right now? Like, where is he detained? Or like, where is he at? And the lady didn't want to tell her, like, straight up, like, I don't know, I can't help you. And then the wife was like, well, that's my husband. Like, I need to know where he's at. And they just wouldn't tell her where he was, I'm sorry.
What the fuck, man?
Like, yeah, so they just straight up kidnapped him.
Yeah. Oh my God, man. And
Yeah, there
then-
was a lot of things that I saw that day. I'm like, fuck.
And then
dude.
how fucking douchebag President Bukele has come into play and trying to capitalize over this hideous situation. Just disgusting people
Honestly.
in this world, man. Just fucking disgusting people, man.
Yeah, and these disgusting people, I think I've realized this in recent years.
If you can even
is
call them
like,
people at this point.
yeah,
bro.
honestly, like they're the true minorities, right? But they're the minorities of a subsystem of what a minority is, like billionaires in general or people in power. But they're the ones that have the most influence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And all of these problems that we have, like systematically, they almost want it to make it seem like it's our fault. Like, just like a simple example of like,
Yeah,
we
they're
can't even
gaslighting
fucking
us.
buy houses at this point. Like,
Yeah.
my friend was telling me yesterday too, that was another conversation that we had, is that because they're trying to get a house, but that they can't afford it. And she was saying, well, my parents, they got married and they bought a house right away, like at the age of 21.
Yeah, what year
And
was
we're,
this?
like,
What
almost in
decade
our-
was this?
Oh, maybe like 40 years ago. So maybe like in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was still pretty doable, I would say.
Right. So I think that just really shows, like we're under an oppressive system that gaslights us into thinking that it's our fault that we have these problems, or where we can't afford groceries, we can't fucking buy a house. Like,
It's the same thing that they do with the environment. They gaslight us into saying that we are responsible for contaminating the planet,
Yeah.
right? When in reality, we just consume what they're making. So
Exactly.
they're responsible for that. It's their responsibility to make eco-friendly production, right? And they attempt to do that. Everything else, they put it through their ball sack, and then they don't really give a shit about it.
yeah, and it's also like the varying difference of consumption of energy. You can't tell me that we consume more energy than a fucking billionaire.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
are you kidding
true.
me? Like,
That's true.
they use drastically more energy than common folk, for lack of a
Well,
better term.
Well, yeah. They use so much energy they have to use humans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they've become controllers of our own personal energy,
Right.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, it's typical, right? They try to gaslight people to say that we are responsible for a lot of things, and yeah, we are responsible because we are on the consumption side. But who is in the production side? You
Right.
know, and the propaganda machines are very well to put it on us, like, oh, make sure you don't use straws, or you use this other one, it'll change the planet. It's just a little
Turn off your lights.
yeah, when in reality it's like Coca-Cola's fucking owning water or some shit,
Coca-Cola
like somewhere. How the fuck do you own
Do you remember
water?
where that is in Mexico, where Coke is cheaper than water? Do you remember where that is?
I don't remember. No.
I'm trying to remember where I'm pretty sure it's like more south of the country. I'll have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure there's like this place where at this point buying a Coke is cheaper than buying a bottle of water.
It's fucked
Isn't that
up,
insane?
man. It's fucking
That's
insane.
inhumane at that point. That's just inhumane.
Yeah, and yeah, it's fucking insane, man. But we're almost at the hour. We were only supposed to do this for an hour. I think that leads a good way for us to go into one of the sections that we have here, and that will keep coming back, called "What's Your Bop?" Diana, what's your bop and why?
Ooh, my bop will have to be a song from Karol G's new album, Tropicoqueta. It's called Tu Perfume. I just think the lyricism in that song in particular is pretty good. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You like it. There's been a lot of back and forth in her new album because of the samples, right?
You were telling me that she kind of
has
like
taken.
crashed out on live, no?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if crash
yeah.
out is like the right term.
She
to
didn't
use
crash
these
out.
days,
She's
but-
always very respectful. I've yet to see her crash out, but I don't know if you've even seen that interview when she was very young and she went to a Colombian
Was it like a competition?
entertainment competition, and
host.
the host, thank you, was shitting on Karol G, and she was being very disrespectful, and Karol G was being very respectful.
Oh, I think I know what clip you're talking about.
And even then she was very mad, but she kind of kept it together. And I don't even know if it was like a real thing. It might have been like one of those mock
Or like stage.
stage things where they kind of make the artist go mad. I don't know what it was, but I've seen that and it's very real, and you could see her reaction. It's obviously she defends herself, but she's never like disrespectful, and I feel like that's how it was in this live. But people basically are saying that Tropicoqueta has a lot of like copied songs, I guess, and they're they're kind of like docking her for that, but the songs aren't the same, right? Because you can sample any song, there's nothing wrong with that, and bring your own twist to it. And I think what Karol G did was completely okay, and I just don't see anything. I don't see the I don't understand the discontent for using samples when we have other artists using that 100% of the time, you know. And I think it's mostly because it's a woman doing it.
I was gonna say, I imagine
times.
sexism has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexism that comes into play, because the songs are good, you know, and you can say that. Yeah, I can see how there's maybe more inspiration from different songs or samples. From the ones that she strictly said, because she was like, respiración de blah, 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 right? Okay, fair. But obviously, people have access to the album and they can kind of scrutinize it more, and they'll find more samples of it. So they're just trying to make her look bad in a lot of ways. But that's what the internet tries to do. That's what the media tries to do. That's what the haters try to do. And I think that over time, I think people are gonna receive it more and more. They're gonna fall in love with it. That's what I'm thinking. Because like you were saying, once you hear it more, because it's not just the song, it's la letra, you know, and people don't understand that as well.
So the time when I listen to a new album, I try to at least listen it 2 times all the way through, like in order, because usually the first time what I'm listening for, and it's unintentional, not like necessarily that like, oh, I'm looking for this and that, but I feel like I have a tendency to listen to like the instrumental side of things, or like how
what's really new,
how like sonically it sounds, versus like the second time around I'm like, okay, like I feel like I need to digest the lyrics a little bit more, and I listened to it again yesterday. I was like, okay, like actually, and I liked it a little bit more. Like it's not like that I was saying like, oh, I hate it like the first time, but I think the second time through I'm like, okay, I actually really like this album.
I mean, la canción que tiene con
Marco Antonio Solís.
Marco Antonio Solís' song, that song made me cry, dude. Like, it's very beautiful. The lyrics are very beautiful. Like, people, it's because the problem is that people just want like a side of a person, you know.
That too.
And I think she's trying to express that she's all these things, right?
More than one thing.
Yeah, she's more than one thing, and she can make more than one thing, you know, happen. And this is just kind of her project of expressing that, and we should cherish her talent because of that, not negate it, right? We tend to say like, no, nada más tienes que hacer reggaeton. When ironically enough, before she was the bichota, before they said that reggaeton wasn't for women,
right?
So she kind of broke that fucking roof, broke through that roof, and now that she's kind of tapping in and getting
To other
inspiration
sides.
from different sides. They're saying that she's copying Bad Bunny, that she's doing this, but Bad Bunny himself has copied other things. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
Originality it's one of those concepts that we've made, but nothing is really original if you really think about it. I think everything has already, in one way or shape or another, has been implemented. We just keep transcending it to the next level, you know. But that's a personal opinion that could change in the future, you know. But as of right now, that's what I kind of stand with it, where I kind of stand with it, and I feel like she has been able to kind of slowly do that. But I also understand that if people are putting pressure in the internet, you know, saying you're kind of like a copycat, that's not something that you want to hear.
No, of course not. It
That'll
doesn't feel
definitely
good.
trigger you.
Yeah. That's like discrediting your work in a way.
100%, and that's bullshit. You know, nobody should be that's bullshit, because she had to sit down. She has to still spend time fucking writing. She had to spend time practicing and creating the idea of what she was gonna apply in this new album and executing it as a concept in this new album. So I love a lot of the songs. The one with Marco Antonio Solis is one of my favorites, just because of how beautifully it's written, and not everything has to be like perreo. Not everything has to be bellaqueo, you know.
As a side note, though, I do think it's funny that like the song right after the Marco Antonio Solis one is like perreo type of shit. I'm like, that's so funny.
And it's lovely, no? Because she's good at it.
I just think it's funny.
We know she can do perreo right,
course,
you know. We know she can say the little catchy phrases that are gonna turn out the baddies, you know, las malitas. She also has songs that are very expressive when it comes to like how she feels right now in her relationship and her love, you know, and that's beautiful as well, you know.
They're adorable.
And if people are really about Karol G, then her sipping her emotions through the songs and really being real and raw, as she had said she was in this album, you know, whether it is marketing or not, that's up for speculation, you know. But definitely the essence of you gets permeated into the product, right, into the album. So she even said that one of the songs is dedicated to Faith, you know, and how she feels about being in a healthy relationship.
Let my girl be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Let people be happy. Stop being so judgmental. And because that's the least thing that we need right now. There's a lot of talking voices and a lot of negative. When are we going to have some positivity, right? Like, is it just going to be that and we're going to be obsessed with this shit? You know, like, let's cherish those good things. And if a new album comes out, it's not going to change the world, and it's not going to bring peace between Iran and US, like Maluma posted. That shit was funny.
Oh my gosh. Homeboy needs to read the room. That boy, that's a whole another conversation.
Yeah. I'm just
that was funny.
Giving him shit for that. But I think you chose a good song. We went a whole tangent about La Bichota.
Relevant. Should be getting hated on lately. But what's your song?
Mine is gonna be Pida Lo Que Quiera Mami, from Fade, from his Colors show, or I don't know, it's like a music show where they bring artists and then they get to sing one of them.
Cool.
It's like a Tiny Desk kind of, but not
Variant.
really. It's kind of like a variant of that. Thank you. I couldn't think of the goddamn word. So yeah, I like Pida Lo Que Quiera Mami because it's just it's very poem-like.
It's very romantic.
It's romantic in the sense that it's well written, romantically written, and it's also, I don't know, it has Fade's touch of like flow and you know,
It tells a story too.
yeah, it tells a story. He's really good at that. And you know, he himself got a little bit of backlash on his new album as well.
Ooh, I didn't hear about this.
But same thing, you know, very similar in a lot of ways. Same
People
thing.
are just hating because they're such a power couple right now.
I think that's what it is. I think people are just not thinking that they shouldn't have the number one spot, but actions speak louder than words, you know. And who hasn't sang Luna, you know, in the middle of the night? If you really like reggaeton, so go fuck yourself, man. Anyways,
We got the power couple in the house, the Fade y La Bichota. El Fercho.
Wanda and Gizmo, baby.
Wanda and Gizmo? Who's Gizmo? Oh, Cosmo?
Cosmo, shit, but okay, we're gonna have to edit that out.
It's okay.
Wanda and Cosmo, baby.
Yeah, the the green and the pink.
Yes, I am very happy to be back. Anyways, ending the podcast, and yeah, just stay tuned for everything that's going to be coming up. We have some new things that we want to incorporate in the show. I'll have people that I'm going to invite. Same deal. I'm just happy to be back again and being able to bring you guys news, pop culture, and life reflections.
Yeah, I'm excited to execute all of our fun ideas.
Okay, make sure to follow us on our social media. Now you can find me as Uli Blue. I changed that because it's my new. It's the new era. It's the new era of Instagram for me, and also TikTok and a lot of other things. Incorporating my DJing into it and the personality that I want to bring to that project. I have sort of like the best way I could describe it is like an alternate ego is the best way I could describe it, where you see Derek most of the time, but there's another side of me called Uli that is very much it's very different from what a lot of people get to see. You all have obviously seen that side, and I think I'm trying to find the DJing world is helping me express that other side that has been kind of muted throughout the stages of my life.
He in his soft boy era.
Yeah. I guess I see softness very differently. You know, I see softness as a strength.
I was gonna say softness can be a strength for sure.
So
being vulnerable.
being vulnerable and being able to express vulnerability, because a lot of people, that's where they're like, hey, they want to be vulnerable, but they don't know how to express vulnerability. And vulnerability can be cool if you know how to do that.
It takes practice.
It takes practice, exactly. If you don't practice it, then you'll always be a red pill motherfucker.
Cut.
Anyways, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. I hope you guys enjoyed it and listened to it. We're on Spotify and everything else. Stay lovely and
stay aware and stay aware and stay safe.
Stay safe. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.